A retired Army Brigadier General Donald Bolduc wins New Hampshire's Republican primary for U.S. Senate. He faces incoming Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan in November. Meanwhile, incoming Governor Chris Sununu won the GOP nod for re-election. An organization outside of the nation's capital dedicated to defending the family says it will spend $10 million in advertising leading to the midterm elections. The American Principles Project is focusing on a half a dozen swing states. The first ad was released yesterday. It targets Michigan Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer. APP says under her watch, schools and libraries are now offering sexualized and obscene books. We go now to John Schweppe, Director of Policy at the American Principles Project. John, welcome back. Always good to be with you. First off, I want to say we watched the ad, and while we really would like to show it to our viewers, we felt that content was much too graphic. Meantime, that content is taken directly from a book that's available to children at some public schools. Talk to us more about that and why Twitter took issue with your ad.
Yeah, no, we totally agree with you. I mean, this is, a difficult decision we made, but ultimately this is sensitive content that we do think adult voters need to see because kids are accessing it. We found in Michigan that this particular book that's featured in the ad is in 84 public libraries, including school libraries. And so Twitter ultimately removed the ad. They called it sensitive content and said it violated their policies. And it's hard for us to disagree with that. But then that kind of begs the question, why is this accessible to children? And that's what's happening here. The Democrats are totally supporting exposing really vile, obscene content to kids. And we really shouldn't be supporting that. And I think voters are going to be pretty upset with the Democrats in November over that.
Yeah, John, I'm curious. I mean, what have you heard from Twitter about this ad? And is that ad still available maybe on other social media platforms?
No, Twitter doesn't really talk to us about stuff like that. They did slap a label on it, and they gave us an opportunity to appeal, which, of course, they denied. But as you know, I've been censored by Twitter in the past for advocating against sex changes for kids. They've taken a very, pro radical transgender agenda approach on their content. And so, we recognize the hypocrisy in their enforcement here. This is also a platform, by the way, that hosts all sorts of pornographic content and doesn't call it sensitive. So we recognize, this is because we're trying to get the word out about this. We're trying to inform voters. And the left doesn't want that to happen. They want voters to stay in the dark about their radical beliefs.
John, what about the other ads? I mean, what's the focus there going to be? And which states are they going to run in?
Well, first and foremost, we're going to be in, I believe, 6 states, and that could actually expand. We're targeting states like Arizona and Nevada, where there's important governor races and Senate races. We're also, we're looking to run ads on all sorts of issues. So in the past, APP ran ads on the women's sports issue. And because of those ads, I think Republicans felt emboldened to really tackle that issue from a policy standpoint. I think we have 18 states now that have passed legislation to protect women's sports. And so we're doing the same thing, but we're really focusing on the sexualized content in schools and then also on the sex change procedures for kids that the left is pushing on kids at earlier and earlier ages. And so we'll have an ad coming out next week focusing in one of those Senate races I just mentioned, talking about, what this actually entails for children, how it can sterilize them and prevent them from having families of their own. And it's really awful stuff. And we're doing it to kids as young as 8 years old.
Well, John, we're looking forward to the next ad. And thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us. Always a pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me.